For the past 6 months or over, we all have been discussing about this topic. Is AI going to take over manual testing job? Is AI going to be a better automation tester than me? And we discuss this with our colleagues, with our friends. Then what usually happens is that we go back to our desk and work on the same thing we've been doing for the past many years. We consider it to be a business as usual. In reality, AI is going to help testers becoming more efficient. This is my belief that if we start using AI for our benefit, it will actually help us in doing things rather faster and more efficient way. The second most important bit that I personally feel is, as we now know that a lot of code we have in industry is being written by the AI. If I remember correctly, Microsoft had said that about 20% of code is written by AI in their system at the moment, and probably same for Facebook and other big giant organization. Now, what makes me more hopeful about all of this as a tester is that regardless of who writes the code, it is at the end going to be for the users and has to be tested by a human as a real user. So I think the AI is going to open more doors for software testers because they need to test these tools, the applications by themselves as a real user. But the really important thing I also believe is that all the repetitive tasks that we have, a test activity like regression, a test data setup or environment setup, all of this is going to be automated using AI. So no more repetitive tasks, and I probably know that there are a lot of organizations started using self-healing automated tests. Regression activity is going to be automated and become a part of CI/CD channel, which we have been doing for a very long time now, and it is going to be more efficient in the future. But then, how to use AI to your own benefit? We've been, as I said, we've been discussing with our friends. We know a lot of this already in place, but how we are actually going to efficiently use into our own benefit. Coming to the prompt, the art of communication. It's all about what you ask AI and what response you get at the end. So the whole purpose of this video was to give you a prompt that I'm using. Well, I've started using prompt to actually make myself more efficient in a way that I can actually expedite my automation activity. And here is a prompt on your screen that I have written, that I use for writing my automation script. It's pretty simple, and there are a few important bits about this prompt that I would like to highlight here. First thing first is this scenario that is here, which is a simple BDD scenario. Probably you understand that anyways. So given, when, then. Now if you read it carefully, for example, given user ABC is on the home page, it is a vague statement. ABC isn't a user. And similarly, for the when condition, I have some dummy data, and for then condition, I have mentioned navigate to page ABC. Now there is a reason behind it, and I'm fully aware for the fact that when you see this prompt in this video, you are going to utilize it at some point for your own benefit. But the most important bit is the organizations where we work haven't come up with a AI policy yet. So we don't know what and how much we should be exposing to UI from our organizations, particularly for the data and business scenarios. So what my personal opinion and my personal suggestions to all of you is, do not put your company's real data, authentic data and authentic scenarios for it to evaluate what needs to be done based on that. Of course, it will keep you away from those conflict that you might have with your organizations at some point. So just try to make it as vague as possible, only for 2 points: the data and the name of the scenario, so that you do not expose a lot of details to AI, unless of course you have AI policy in place. Yeah, good for you. The task is again simple. I'm asking you to act as an expert automation tester and write test code in tool language, which I'll explain you in a minute, with Cucumber BDD scenario for the form that has fields, these many fields in the form. And if you have noticed, I have mentioned for one of the field as drop down with the values, and in the bracket I mentioned A, B, C, D. So again, not exposing a great amount of details there, but I'm mentioning here at the same time, like create a feature file, step definition and page object. Use assertion library, which again we'll fill it in a minute, for any validation. Now, using this prompt, we are going to generate feature file, step definition and page object so that we can copy and paste and modify according to our need. So here I am on ChatGPT. I've just given this prompt here, and let's go ahead and change those details that we have. So tool, for example, let's use WebDriver IO here. So WebDriver IO, and the language is going to be JavaScript. Now those who have used WebDriver IO knows that it accepts both like two languages, TypeScript and JavaScript. So I want it to be giving me all the codes in JavaScript. Now for Cucumber scenarios, it all looks nice, good. And here is the assertion library, which is what I'm trying to tell ChatGPT here is that when there is a point where you think that there has to be a validation of something or a verification of something, use WebDriver IO's assertion library. For any validation. So here we are with the prompt ready, all that has been submitted. Let's go ahead and use this prompt and see what it does. It's thinking. So here it is going and creating all those details for me one by one, writing a code, and it looks like it has done all the job for me. Right, here we go. So we have a nicely formatted feature file that it has created, calling it form submission.feature. Nice. And then it has also given me a page object, calling it form page. Now you can see that it has done a lot of heavy lifting. All I need is to copy this entire class, the form page class, sorry, and use it into my framework, and then go ahead and change these details like the UI elements, the UI locator, with the right values. It has given it based on its detail, whatever detail the code can think of, the AI code can think of, but I have to go and modify according to my need. But the point is, it has actually given me everything that I need. It's just that it requires a little bit of modification according to my purpose. Then again, you have the step definition class, which is here, and then you can literally copy paste and use this as is. Now there are a couple of details that I would like you to give attention to. This data table here. So if you remember, in our prompt, which is also visible here, we are passing data table. So of course AI understand that there is a data table coming in which requires to be converted into row hash, and then the details has to be passed as a hash data into form page into a function called submit form. So that's really important, that if you see here, submit form is now accepting all the table column name, which is as a parameter gone into this function, coming from this row hash stayed stored into details variable, and then being passed here. Now the second important detail that I would like you to pay attention to is this here, the verification. The expect browser to have URL containing is actually a built-in function in WebDriver IO assertion. So it is using what I'm asking it to. Again, I can simply copy paste this form and use it for my own benefit. Let's go ahead and use the same prompt in a different way now. So here is my prompt again, and this time I'm going to use a tool called Serenity BDD, and language is going to be Java. With Cucumber BDD scenario, everything remains the same, just those tool and assistant library is going to be changed. So I want it to use JUnit for any validation. As I mentioned, this prompt is common for anything that you want to use. It's just that I've written it in such a way that change those tool and language options and the session library, and it does rest for you. Let's see what it does for Java this time. It's thinking. There you go. So it has now picked up this Java language and creating all the code for me. The good part about this prompt is that I'm not exposing my organization's details. I'm just giving it a vague statement, vague data, random data I'd rather say, and it is giving me what I want. Of course, this is not ready to use code. You have to copy and paste into your local project and change wherever it is required. Like the locators, it is definitely a different locator in your case, in my case, but everything else remains the same. If you have more fields in your form, you can add more field in here, but it has given you a skeleton. In fact, not only skeleton, it has a lot of meat in it already in place. So if I show you this all over again, it's just that because now we are using Java, it has created Java related code. So the feature file is pretty much the same. Of course, the Java code is here, and if you see, it is using Serenity BDD now because I asked it to use Serenity BDD framework with Java. So again, it's all ready for you to use. A page object is there, a function has been created, all the functions that now you can use in your step definition class. A step definition has also been created, and it is also verifying that assert true, that this is what it was expecting and it's there. So it is using JUnit for its assertion purpose. Simple and easy. This is how I personally see that AI can help us in improving our own work. You can actually write further more prompt and ask to modify something, and it will do it for you. And you can, before you want to move into your own project, copy and pasting into your own project, you can change it here, or you can go and do it on your project code itself. But overall, it has generated something for you that you can utilize as is. Copy and paste to your project, helping you expedite your automation scripting.